Never come across metabolic syndrome, which is sometimes referred to as a metabolic disease. It's actually a group of concerns that, when integrated, can substantially enhance one's opportunity of creating cardiovascular disease, diabetes mellitus, as well as stroke. Usually, the opportunities for acquiring metabolic disorders arise as we age, with nearly 50% of all Americans in their 60s as well as 70s being impacted by the issue. The symptoms of this illness vary widely, though metabolic disorders people do have a tendency to have even more weight around the abdomen than the typical individual. They might likewise be resistant to insulin or have problems with boosted production of insulin. Often symptoms show on the body, such as through the appearance of skin tags and also benign growths. Fortunately is that there are means to lower the influence of metabolic syndrome. For example, one can make a major distinction in their wellness by merely avoiding specific foods. So, what foods should you stay clear of if you've been detected with this problem? 1. Phony sugar. A few years back, the hottest fad to strike the food, as well as the beverage market, was, certainly, the diet regimen choice. Coke was now joined by Diet Regimen Coke, Pepsi by Diet Plan Pepsi. Ultimately, just about every major food product had a diet plan equivalent, and also in cases where the main component was sugar, that suggested changing it with a sweetening agent. These sweetening agents have actually become household names in the years since. There's aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. Sadly, there's still not a great deal of evidence to suggest these substitutes for sugar are in fact all right for the body. As a matter of fact, some proof recommends they could be dangerous as well as might raise the opportunities of gaining weight, creating diabetes, and even having heart problems arise. For someone with a metabolic disorder, it virtually does without stating that these fake sweeteners have to stay clear of. 2. Diet Plan Pop. There was a time when just individuals on actual diet plans would certainly drink diet plan soda. Currently, nevertheless, many diet plan sodas outsell their routine equivalents. As well as while it holds true that most diet plan soft drinks have no calories and no added sugar, they typically change sugar with chemicals we just do not recognize that much about. For instance, it's still not clear if taking sugar out of a soft drink as well as replacing it with sucralose does anything to improve one's opportunities of deflecting weight or holding kind 2 diabetes mellitus at arm's length. For those that have been diagnosed with a metabolic disorder, it simply isn't worth the risk. Rather, stay with water and bitter environment-friendly tea. 3. Trans fats. A couple of years ago many of the largest firms in the food and beverage market made an old college try to get rid of trans fats from their products. That's since trans fats, which are most often found in foods made using hydrogenated oils and fats, can increase one's opportunities of coming to be obese and creating heart-related illnesses. Yet lots of foods, as well as specifically very processed baked goods, still have trans fats. Although the variety of items with trans fats in them is diminishing, any individual with metabolic disorder ought to be vigilant in looking for foods that have absolutely zero trans fats contained within. 4. Fine-tuned sugars. Consuming also much refined sugar and also carbs can cause insulin levels to spike, enhancing the chances that someone will certainly create kind 2 diabetes or metabolic syndrome. It can also bring about considerable weight gain, which can put unnecessary stress on the heart as well as other parts of the body, from the bones as well as joints to muscular tissues as well as major body organs. Due to the fact that they have already been determined as being at raised threat of developing cardiovascular disease, diabetes mellitus, and also stroke, individuals with metabolic syndrome need to severely restrict their exposure to fine-tuned sugars and carbs, which can commonly be discovered in very refined foods like bread as well as cookies. 5. Alcohol. There's no rejecting that a number of the globe's most dynamic cultures are greatly steeped in alcohol consumption. In movies, TV shows, and also publications, consuming alcohol is frequently cast as appropriate, also desirable, in order to win good friends as well as enjoy life. Yet alcohol intake, specifically to excess, areas big pressures on the body. For one, it includes many calories, which add up and can eventually bring about significant weight gain. Second, drinking a lot of alcohol can increase your blood pressure as well as make you extra susceptible to the heart problem. Considered that individuals with metabolic disorders are already susceptible to heart problems, it makes sense that they must avoid drinking alcohol at all prices. 6. Very refined foods. People who have been diagnosed with metabolic syndrome ought to promptly experience their cooking area looking for one of the most heavily refined foods. As soon as these foods are rounded up and in the regular American kitchen area that could take a while, they ought to be tossed right in the waste bin. That's due to the fact that highly processed foods, whether icy, tinned, boxed, or landed, have none of the nutrients that individuals with metabolic disorder demand to manage their condition. Frequently, these foods are loaded down with salt, sugar, and also chemicals. Thanks for watching this video.